Hey, what's up, you guys? Woody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of The Strain. So we've seen Season 2, Episode 13, which is the Season 2 finale, entitled Night Train. And, yeah, it was a hell of an episode. I mean, for a second during the show, I was thinking, oh, maybe the season finale of Fear the Walking Dead will actually be a bit higher up than the season finale of The Strain, but no, thankfully, The Strain proves it's definitely better than Fear the Walking Dead, which we already knew that. But anyway, that's not into that, it's different shows and stuff like that, but the season finale of The Strain was a very, very, very good episode, I'd say. Probably one of the best episodes of the season, I'd say, along with like the Quinlan centric one. I think my cat, she's probably gonna go to the door pretty shortly, but I heavily enjoyed this episode. I thought it was very well done. Something about Fear the Walking Dead and The Strain tonight, though, they both had a pretty significant major death, as far as their female characters go, and not just their female characters, but I'd say The Strain's death was probably bigger than what Fear the Walking Dead did. And this death, hell, I put spoilers in the title, okay? We seen the death of Nora Martinez, which is very surprising to me. And I guess she's a character that, I haven't read the books, but I did just look at a little bit of information about her, and I guess she's a character that didn't really die in the books. So it really shows that they're shaking things up with the show, and I approve of that, because, if you do it, there's two different ways you could go about it. You could do it by the books, scene by scene and stuff like that, pretty much, or you could, try to make it really different, make your own version, with elements, or, certain points of the story that you do take from the books. But I do think there's, a middle ground that can be found, generally follow the story, but then sort of make it your own by adding certain things, or just making certain changes, like what The Walking Dead does. At least they used to do it more often anyway. And this is a major change from the books, so I'm very curious to see how different people say it is from the story in the books and stuff like that. And even as far as that, for me, as someone who's only been following the show and hasn't read the books, this is surprising for me to see, because I didn't expect her death at all this season. I thought she was completely safe. I thought she'd be there, for the end of the series and stuff like that. So I could not call this one, you guys. That's probably why I don't do predictions videos. But I don't think any of us really predicted this happening. And so I'm happy that, it's a little bit more unpredictable now, and that even the book readers probably don't know exactly where the show's going to go. So I'm very happy about that. And the death was done really, really well, too. But, I'll get to more on the actual scene in a minute, or in a few minutes anyway, later in the review. But I thought the rest of the episode was pretty good, too. We had the bidding war, between Abraham and who it was supposed to be Palmer, but, I-Course came in his place because of the level of importance of retrieving it for the Master. Of course, they wouldn't completely put it in Palmer's hands, so I-Course is obviously the Master's, field general, basically, as I've said before. And, I thought that was a pretty good scene, because we actually had Palmer finally, take, Coco's urging, assert himself, against not against the Master, but, assert himself against the Master, that he's not someone you can just use and, look down upon and toss away and things like that. Show that he is, significant, that he does have power and control and stuff like that. And he's not someone who can just be used to their advantage, and that's it. And that definitely came back around to backfire on Palmer in a very, very major way. Which I think was a bit more predictable than the main death in this episode. But nonetheless, it was still pretty well done, I think, with, I-Course, that he actually ended up, killing Coco. Not I-Course, actually, but the Master himself, I should say. But I did think the bidding scene was pretty... the cat's at the door. I did like how they had I-Course and the Master and Palmer sort of win the bidding war, but then that's when Palmer decided to make his move and kind of stand up for himself against the Master and I-Course, and he basically made it so he couldn't use his funds, and I just thought that was kind of funny. And of course Abraham was given the Lumen. You could just see, I like how Fet smiled when Abraham was holding it. You could just see how proud the old man was and stuff like that. He was happy for him. So I like that Setrakian finally got a hold of the book. And of course, like I said, it did come back around at Palmer, and the Master killed Coco himself, because as I-Course said, this is so much more than Palmer realizes. It's basically like betraying the Master to them, and as I-Course pointed out, it's clear that Coco is the one who influenced him to do that, to take a hold of it and try to assert himself again. And look what that cost him, the girl he actually fell in love with and stuff like that. And you guys know how I felt about that part of the story this season. It was probably one of the weaker parts of the season, to be completely honest. But I was starting to like it a little bit more as it went on, and even though the death of Coco was kind of predictable, I did say she was going to get caught in the crossfire, and she did. But it could be kind of interesting to see where Palmer goes as a character at this point. He could very well turn into more of a good character. I'm not entirely sure. But I don't see him lasting till the end either, though. But we'll see. Because they're only going to need the funds to pull these things off for so long, then they're not really going to need them anyway. But good job by the actor who plays Palmer, though. He's given a pretty consistently good performance for the past 2 seasons, so hats off to him. And we see he also seems to be taking her heart out of her chest. And did it seem like the Master may have turned her? I'm not sure. But either way, he did. Palmer did take the heart out of her chest, so I wonder if he's going to put her in a jar just like Setrakian did with Miriam or something. I don't know. But, along with that bidding war, we also had Eph and Nora, escorting Zach to the train, to try and get him to his grandparents. I think it was in Boston. I think. No, it wasn't in Boston. Georgia. Yeah, I think it might have been Georgia where his grandparents were at. But again, we'll get to that in a few minutes, because that's the main part of the episode, and I have a lot to say about what happened with that. But, I did like the action we got, with, I-Course trying to, just take the Lumen from, Setrakian, because as he said, savor this victory, and, basically I'm going to be coming for you. And then he did pretty quickly on the road, and then he tried to block Setrakian and Fet in, and then he had this vampire army come in the truck and trying to get in, things like that. But they were interrupted by, Quinlan and Gus and the rest of them they had recruited from the prison. And I did like Quinlan's speech this episode as well. He's not really telling the men all the whole story or anything like that, but he knows how to speak and he knows how to motivate these people. So I thought that was a pretty good scene too. And of course, it was kind of cool to see all the guys shoot up the vampires and stuff like that. And that's looks like a much smarter idea than trying to run in and bash all their skulls and stuff without getting infected somehow. Battle for a hook. Anyway. That's still a good episode, though, but I did tell you how it was weird that more of the civilians didn't get infected and killed and stuff, but this was a better way to go about it, with guns blazing and stuff. And, we also almost got a confrontation between Quinlan and I-Course, which I was actually pretty excited about while it was going to happen. And, to see, I-Course, he breaks into the truck and he's about to step in to go after Setrakian in the book. And then he senses a presence and he looks and he sees Quinlan standing there. And you can just see the fear and sort of like surprise in I-Course's eyes, as he says, the born. The born. And so I just thought that was kind of funny. Not funny, but, just to finally see I-Course brought down to a level, brought down a peg or two and stuff like that. But of course, Quinlan speaks to the Master through Icorst, and then the one not bad, but one of the little gripes I have with the episode is that once again Icorst escapes with minimal injuries and stuff like that. So I thought it was a little bit, Icorst just gets away again. Okay, I just felt a little bit of an anticlimax again. But again, as I've said, I'm hoping when Icorst actually is killed, it is by Setrakian's hands, or they both die together, or something along those lines. So I'm fine with Icorst surviving, for more of a majority of the series. But I just wish that they'd stop teasing us with these, encounters only for him to flee over and over again, So they probably shouldn't do that as often if they're not going to kill him or have him kill someone else on the other side of things. But it is what it is. It's still a very good episode. Didn't really take away from it too much this week as it did with the battle for Red Hook. But, so I did like that scene overall, though, and as Gus went into the truck after him, we see it explode. At first I think Gus may have been killed, but we see that he actually ended up following Setrakian and Fet out, and, Fet and Gus have a bit of a standoff. And then, Setrakian just says he's not going to hand the book to him or the Ancients or anyone like that, and it's going to end with, him being shot and then Fet shooting Gus, or, just something of that sort. But then that's when Quinlan and the rest of the gang show up, and, they can't really stand against them. And then they sort of, realize that, Quinlan's probably not going to... Setrakian realizes, anyway, that Quinlan's probably not going to bring it to the Ancients either, because he wants to kill the Master. He's not going to want to, destroy it. And, so, it's pretty much solidified that Quinlan isn't really doing this for the Ancients. He has his own personal agenda, for going after the Master and things like that, his own personal reasons, as he said when he talked to the Ancients themselves. So it's going to be interesting to see what else the Ancients try to pull, since, Quinlan isn't completely doing this, for their purposes and stuff like that. And let's see, is there anything else I wanted to talk about besides the main part of the episode? It's too bad that we didn't get to see Dutch in this episode, but, at least she made it out of the season, so I'm happy about that. And, let's get to the main part. So Eph, Nora, and Zach are on the train. We also see the guy, the boy from the church, from the cathedral, that Abraham had, tried to get the book from earlier this season. He is on the train as well. And, the train ends up being derailed. Excuse me. It's almost 1 a.m. here. But, But anyway. I did like how, I like the shot of, all the strigori being on the tracks and stuff like that, as, kind of caused a derailment. And what followed was a very intense sequence, a very cool shot sequence in the tunnels, dimly lit and stuff like that. Nora tries to get Zach away because she knows it's some kind of ambush by the strigori, of course. And, she says Eph will catch up, and then it was cool to see Eph, fight off some of the children of the night, some of the vampire children that we had seen created earlier this season. I was worried about Eph for a minute, but, then you gotta realize, oh yeah, he's the main character. But then again, they do obviously kill people that they don't kill in the book, so maybe I have a reason to be worried now. But, of course, Kelly ends up showing up. We had seen her watching the train earlier, just before it took off. So we knew she was probably going to stop it at some point. And I just thought they were going to cut the power somehow or something like that. But, then we have a standoff between Nora and Kelly. And, Kelly's able to zoom and dodge every single one of Nora's bullets that she fires. But Nora, with her sword, is actually able to get the upper hand on Kelly, get the advantage over her. And, she's slicing her left and right, and she's going to go in for the, decapitation. Then, Zach sort of, feels his attachment to his mother, and people complain about this, complain about Zach's, timing of things. They've been complaining about him all season, and I have too. He's been a little bit irritating this season. And he was right here too, for not, still not realizing that his mother isn't there anymore. But at the same time, he's a child, and even if he wasn't, he'd still feel like, this loss and that you want her back in any way you possibly could. Yes, this desperation and stuff like that. Well, that distracts Nora, and then Kelly, wraps the stinger, the tongue around Nora's arm and hand and stuff like that, and right there, I was shocked. And as Nora's laying there hurting, at first I thought Kelly just like twisted her arm or something like that, but then I realized no, she had to infect Nora. Oh god, oh my god, did not expect that whatsoever. And then Zach ends up hugging Kelly, and he actually ends up leaving with her. And so yeah, they're taking the Zach character down a different route than you'd expect if you haven't read the books and stuff like that, because I did hear a little bit about this. I have heard some spoilers with the books, but now I'm not feeling completely bad about that, because obviously they might go in a different direction on the books in the end anyway. We'll see. So there's still a chance this could be unpredictable for me and others and stuff like that. But the real shock, not the shock, but the real sadness of it came when Eph was finally able to find Nora, and she told him that Zach had left with Kelly, not turned, but it's kind of assumed that's what they're going to be doing eventually. And just right there, when Eph shines that UV ray on Nora, you see all the worms on under her skin and stuff like that. I never thought that would happen, man. It was really sad too. I mean, I was on the cusp of tearing up. I did tear up just a little, and so I can only imagine what it's gonna be like when someone like Abraham or F were to die or something like that. Nora wasn't one of my absolute favorite characters on the show. My favorite character is F, and then after that it'd probably be Setrakian and Fet and Quinlan and stuff like that. I always found Nora to be a little bit dull. Actually, it's a little bit more interested in Dutch than her, but I was getting to like Nora more this season after this season, so it was really sad to see her go, especially because of F's attachment to her. He's lost Kelly and he's lost Nora now at this point. And sure, he put a strain on the relationship between him and Nora, but he was trying to make amends, and the real tragedy of it is they never really got to fully atone and make it up to her before she died, and that's a complete shame. It looked like they could have had a chance to reconcile and stuff, but that never was able to come to fruition because of this, and that is really the really sad part of it. And when Nora used the sword to send electricity through her body to kill herself, and just the way it was shot, I thought was really, really nice, but really sad at the same time. And just when Setrakian is narrating in the truck, how perhaps they can do this, but they can't become monsters themselves in the process. Setrakian's speeches and narrations at the end and beginnings of the seasons are really, really nice. So I can't really do it justice, but you guys know what I'm talking about. As that's happening, I really like the shot of F coming out of the subway, and just seeing his just cold, not really cold, just he lost. Just that huge loss. You can see it on his face, and just the emotion coming from his eyes. Really great acting from Corey Stoll in this episode as well. A great actor, and he's doing really well in the show. So yeah, that's really all my thoughts. That's it for season 2 of The Strain. It is confirmed for season 3. I did a video on that a while ago, so you guys don't need to worry. And I think they're going for at least 5 seasons to complete it. So I think FX is going to be willing to give that to them unless the ratings completely tank. And I don't think they will. I think they'll hopefully stay around the same. But I think they'll be willing to give them at least 2-3 more seasons to tell the whole story. I think that'd be fine. Which I'm glad about, because they have a set plan, they have a set idea of where they're going and stuff, so I'm happy about that. But overall, I really did like this episode. I thought it was a very good finale, especially with the surprising death of Nora that I did not expect. I don't think anyone expected that. And really well done. I'm going to miss me and Maestro on the show, because I've just been following her on social media and stuff, so I didn't really expect that to happen tonight. But yeah, great episode, I'd say. Very worthy of a finale, and I'll definitely be tuning in for season 3 next year, and doing reviews. I plan on doing reviews till the series ends if I can, unless something happens where I can never do videos again. We'll see. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed my videos of The Strain this year. I've been enjoying doing them. Of course, I'm going to come back to them for season 3, like I said. I can't believe the season's already over. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of my favorite shows, no question. That, The Walking Dead, Penny Dreadful, Originals, and The Vampire Diaries are my favorite shows on TV right now, no question. And I just really enjoyed this season. I really love the show. I'll definitely pick it up on DVD and show it off when I do get it. Maybe that's going to be quite a few months down the road. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, Movie Pilot, and look for me on SpoilTheDead.com. Catch you guys next time. And wow, great finale. Love the show. Peace.